Alright guys, today we got a bit of a different discussion video for you. I want this to be the video to end all discussions on whether or not, I know it's unrealistic, on whether or not Dokkan Battle Global version is shafted in terms of stones over its JP counterpart. And this discussion isn't going to be including mess-ups on JP where they get reimbursed for it. This is the discussion on stones overall earned on Global versus stones earned on JP. Now, a lot of people are heated about this discussion. They say JP earns more stones. Now, what you guys are going to find out in a minute is that the JP version requires more stones to get the same type of unit more often than not. And what that's going to translate to is JP needing more stones in order to get the same characters. So, in that regard, I honestly believe that Dokkan Global, the global version at least, is not shafted in terms of stones. And you guys are going to find out why. Alright, if you guys take a look at this here, you'll see that this is the summoning rates for, and I'm using this as an example, the Strength Janemba banner that passed not too long ago. So I'm using this as an example. Our SSR rates, as you can see, we're at 11% for all of summoning. So what that means is for every roughly 45 stones, you're getting an SSR. Now, does that mean you're getting the banner card easier? Well, you see that the summoning rate for the global version is 0.76%, which isn't a lot, obviously. It estimates that on average it'll take you 636 stones to pull Strength Janemba, and as the banner card, I'm going to assume in this calculation that he is the one you're going for. So we jump over to the JP side of things. You'll see that Janemba has a 0.716% to summon him, which is, I believe the difference is somewhere in the ballpark of like 0.07% roughly, give or take. So about 0.07% less. So if you see the average stones per pull, you'll see on JP, this is the JP side, it takes 698 stones per pull in order to pull Janemba on average. So, not counting if you get lucky, the average person on JP would have had to have spent around 700 stones to get the new banner card that they wanted, if they were going for Janemba. And you see the pull rates were also 10%, which is a solid 1% less than its global counterpart. So if you look at the average stones per pull, say you're going for Janemba, it would have taken you roughly, it's looking like roughly 60 stones more. So that means on JP, if you're going for the same card, you're going to need your logins to supplement that difference, hypothetically, in order for it to be considered fair. So, on an even playing field with these percentages that they gave on each version, JP would have had to have received 60 stones more per login, well not per login, but logins overall, in order to be on an even playing field. So that kind of puts things a little bit better into perspective. Granted, JP is not getting 60 stones more per banner. They may get a better celebration by a bit here and there, but overall I guarantee you they are not getting 60 stones more per banner. Now, there's another example I want to point out where the rates on global are generally around 0.5% higher. So that's a decent difference. It's not a huge difference. But global likes to do a different thing every now and then, like they did on the Gotenks banner, where they just oversaturate it with SSRs, which results in the pull rate for the new banner unit being a little bit less in the end anyway. So what they did with the global side of the physical Gotenks banner, as you can see, is the rates were still almost 11%, which is pretty phenomenal. And for comparison, JP's was around a little under 10%. So you got about a solid percent more, as you can see. But the global side added an extra SSR, which resulted in each SSR's pull rate individually being a little bit worse than JP's. So on the global side, you'll see that the Gotenks' pull rate was 0.688%. So it would have taken you 726 stones per average user in order to pull Gotenks. And as you can tell, we didn't pull Gotenks if you watched any of our past videos. And then on the JP side of things, his pull rate is still sitting at around 0.703. So he had a slightly better pull rate on JP. There he is, 726 versus 710. Slightly better on JP. So if you were going for Gotenks in general, you would have had a better chance on JP. Not a huge chance. But when it comes to global, what this percentage tells us is that we get more SSRs per multi on these types of banners. But when they oversaturate with SSRs, we don't get the banner SSR as often. So that kind of puts that a little bit more into perspective. So global is going to end up getting more SSRs per the same stones overall, and every banner is like this, where on global we managed to get 0.5 to a solid % above what JP had. It's just a matter of whether or not they oversaturated the banner with SSR units. And then that becomes an issue of it's unfair because global changed the banners, not because we didn't get enough stones. So I feel like on average, what you're going to see is more situations like Janemba, where there's the same amount of SSRs. It's just that we have a 1% chance higher of pulling him. But there is a few banners that are examples against this, like Go Tanks, where they do have the better rates, but they have an extra SSR that prevents you from pulling the new fresh card as often as on JP. But the difference is smaller in the SSJ3 Go Tanks instance versus the difference in the Janemba difference. So, being the difference is more often like Janemba, as I've seen, JP in those instances for pulling Janemba would need 60 more stones, versus the Go Tanks instances where Global would only need, say, 16 more stones, which is a far cry difference. But I'm going to say the majority of the time Global is not getting shafted in this regard as terms of stones. JP is getting more stones, but they also need more stones to pull the same units most of the time. Thank you guys so much. Let me know what you thought of this discussion. It's just a little analysis. I saw a tweet that got me thinking, is Global really shafted in terms of stones? Now we may get shafted in terms of other things, but for the most part, as far as stones go, I think it is closer to being fair than most people realize, if not in Global's favor. Now JP may get other types of content first, or, you know, at all, like Battlefield, but I don't think Global's shafted in terms of stones. So that's it for my discussion today, guys. I've been LubeMan. Feel free to talk to me in the comments down below. Share this with someone who thinks that Global is shafted in terms of stones, and just let them know that the pull rates on JP are generally less. They're about 1% less for SSRs per banner, for each equivalent banner that you can find. Thank you guys so much for watching this. My name's LubeMan, as I've already said. Like and share this video. Every bit does help when trying to grow the channel. Thank you so much, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one. And remember, why try? Have a good day, guys. And Happy New Year. That might have been the lamest thing I've ever done.